Well, my friends, hello. I know this is an impromptu creative checkup. My name is Alan C. Paul. If you're watching this for the first time, I'm streaming this into my creative community as well as YouTube. And just wanted to say hi. It's been forever since I've been on video. Been going crazy with a lot of different things in my life in terms of scheduling and new jobs and new responsibilities. And we used to do creative checkups every Monday for a year, or even longer, and then all of a sudden, between all the different things that happened with the pandemic and changes in my schedule, things went crazy, and I haven't been able to come on the video. But I wanted to make this happen today, so hopefully everything's working and we got sound. Let me check, make sure everything seems to be coming through. But even if you're not watching this right now, you're watching this on a replay. If you're not watching right now, of course you're watching right now. Even if you're watching on a replay, I want to say thank you for even being a part of our community, our Guided Geeks community. And I wanted to jump in and give you some quick tips, a creative checkup, something that would bless you and help you right away in your creative life. And what's on my mind right now, and because it's April, around April 13th, 14th, I think today is actually the 13th. Yeah, so April 13th. Normally around this time in the US, we're dealing with what we call tax day, and it's April 15th usually, and it's when everybody freaks out if you haven't been taking care of this in advance, and you've got to go take care of your taxes, file your taxes, go to the IRS, Uncle Sam, whatever you want to call, and file your reports for the previous year. So people are filing for 2020 right now. So you might say, okay, well, Alan, why are you talking about this? This is a creative space. This is a place where we're supposed to get inspired and create and write music and write art, write poems and draw pictures and do photography. And why are you talking about taxes on a day where I was hoping to get some inspiration? And the reason is because I want to be very upfront with you. And even why I decided to just, throw on the video is because I was not really realizing the impact that finances and money management and taxes had on my business and on my creative life until it got out of control. Until for a couple of years, just to give you a quick, summary of my life, I was living in and raising children. I was living in South Dade, which is a area in South Miami, and raising our kids. And I had a job as a music minister, and so I had that income. And then I was also doing, short, small gigs, but not a lot of it. And we were homeowners, and so there were a lot of financial things that were different back then as we were raising our kids, and things were just different. So you have this deduction and all these different things. So I didn't end up spending a lot of time thinking about finances back then, even though I should have been paying attention. But something happened about 3 or 4 years ago when I became totally a freelancer and was working pretty much full as a independent contractor. And I found myself not paying attention like I should have. Certain things dropped off, kids got older, certain deductions disappeared. Lo and behold, let me just give it to you straight. My tax bill went through the roof. I did not pay attention to it. We got nailed, we got hurt basically financially because I dropped the ball as a musician, as an entrepreneur, really as a business person. I took my eye off of it because I just thought, oh, well, things will pretty much be the same. I'll still earn money. I'll figure out like, how much to pay or whatever, and it won't be a big deal. And it turned out to be a huge deal. So what I'm going to share with you today are 3 ways that I changed that I turned around my perspective, stopped being scared of taking control of my taxes, control of my financial life as a creative, and how it has, in just a couple of minutes, I'll, try to wrap this up because I'm not going to give you an entire synopsis of my financial life. I don't think you're interested in that, but I would think you'd be interested in how I've saved thousands of dollars and cut that mountain of what seemed to be an insurmountable burden on my family and on my creative life. Because trust me, if you are stressed about money, you're not going to be as creative as you could be, because that elephant is in the back just like bugging you. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about this? Because I have to pay this bill, or I have to take care of this tax bill, or I don't know how much I'm going to owe, or I don't know where my receipts went. I don't know if I'm going to be able to like take this deduction or that deduction. And that stress and that inability to really handle that can become a big issue in your life. Let's see if I can check this real quick, make sure that we're looking in the right place. So what I would love to do as I look around and try to make sure it's funny to look at the camera and try to look at you guys at the same time. So what I would love to do is share 3 things that I did to get really clear on my finances and make sure that I knew what I was spending, how to get the best advantage of it as a creative entrepreneur. Because here's the thing, if you're creative, I hate to tell you, but you are in business. You are in business. And if you are in business, at least in the US, as I'm talking again, this is for my US audience, those of you who are spending money to create, you are making money from creating, you are a business. And the government, as you might want to check out, the best, I guess, resource I could offer you is not even what I'm sharing today. It's my interview with Jake Randall, who's the CEO of a company called TaxBot. And he broke this down better than anybody, better than even I can. But the government wants to reward businesses. And as you've seen over the pandemic, they have done a huge amount of loans and grants and programs for businesses. And those of us who are creatives, who were organized and treating our business like a business, were able to take advantage of a lot of those programs. However, if you weren't, if you didn't have records, if you hadn't incorporated and you haven't done all those things, well, you probably had a hard time qualifying for those things. And it's the same thing now that I know the tax deadline has been moved, but it's the same thing now. If you're not taking advantage of all of the potential savings and the potential record keeping tricks and tips that can keep your tax bill to zero, or refund, or whatever you call it, but the most important thing is that you're not spending money and not becoming burdened by this, because you're actually focusing on the right thing. So I'm going to give you 3 quick tips that helped me to save thousands of dollars on my tax bill as a creative, and change that mentality from feeling like I was overwhelmed to really feeling like I was in total control. Even as of this time, I'm compiling records and getting ready for this year's filing, and I'm really not concerned. I feel good. I know that all of my records are done. I know how much I've spent. I know how much I've earned. I know where to find it. And the system is now in place. So let me tell you first what I did. Number 1, what I first did was that I really got honest and I got serious. And nothing will get you more serious than a certain letter from the IRS. Anything with IRS audit will get you, will get your attention. And so what I did was I took a look at that and I said, wait a minute. Okay, I'm number 1, obviously I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a business person, I'm responsible. God has given me resources. I'm supposed to be a good steward of those resources. What am I doing that is not really taking this seriously? How am I not taking this seriously? And so I had to take it serious. I had to stop taking it like, oh, well, I'm a creative. I don't do money well. I don't do finances well. I lose receipts. I'm ADD. Things are hard to keep up with. I had to get serious. So the first thing was a change in my mentality. Getting serious about the fact that I was a business person. So once I got serious about that, everything changed about the way I approached it. I stopped just saying, well, I'll just spend money here, or I'll just pick up this keyboard here, or I'll just grab this and throw away the receipt. And it stopped being just about the music and just about having fun and just about performing. It became, I have to track this stuff. I have to pay close attention to this stuff, because everything I do is affecting my bottom line. And I have expenses, I have liabilities, I have assets. Those words might sound very uncreative, but by thinking that way, getting serious about that, really changed the way I looked at my creative business and got engaged. Everything you see around me, this is all a business, and it's something that I can't do well, and I can't do the best of my ability if I don't focus on the right things and get serious about it. So my first tip to anyone that's dealing with that kind of I don't want to deal with finances and money management and being a business. That's not me. I'm a maker. I'm a creative. Well, you're both. You are a creative. You are someone that can create and make, but you also have to be someone who can track, record, and be a sound and savvy business person. You can't have it both ways. You can't want the glory and the wonderful feelings of making stuff and then ignore the business side of it, you're going to find yourself like I did, like staring down the barrel of a huge a cannon of problems and financial worries that are going to take your mind off your creative life. And you're not going to be able to focus, and you're not going to be able to have as much fun creatively if you are letting these things slip and then finding yourself with either tax bills or debts or other things that you could have avoided and not taking advantage of all these opportunities to keep more of the money that you make as a creative. And this is doesn't matter what your income is. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you honestly, this is better if you're not making money yet and you start this way and you start thinking like a business before you're making money, before you have an income. Because trust me, once you're making money, it gets a lot harder to go back and try to figure out what you did if you weren't tracking it from the get-go. So the first thing I did was I got serious. The second thing I did was that I started to really get good advice. I got help. I got people in my corner who know this stuff. And I keep glancing off to the side because I'm going to do this real quick because this is driving me crazy. I know you guys are probably saying, what is he looking at? But there we go. That's a little better, so now I can look directly at you guys. So the second thing I did is that I started really getting serious about, I'm sorry, I said that first, getting serious. The second one is I got advice. And let's see if there's any, let me make sure there's any chat going on. I'll make sure to check it out. Okay. So the second thing I did is I got advice. And the way I got advice is that I went not to even other creatives in this case. I didn't go to an accountant necessarily that was a, you know, music only specialist. And I know that might sound strange, and you might think, oh, I'm going to suggest going to an accountant or going to, you know, a financial planner who has expert advice in music or in creative life, which I do recommend, by the way. That's not something I wouldn't recommend. But in my case, I want to be transparent. I went to people that simply had a wealth of financial knowledge. And I joined a mastermind. I did join a mastermind. I didn't just, you know, read up on YouTube. I didn't just go to Google. I joined a mastermind of creatives, but not just creatives, business people, real estate agents. There were people all across the entrepreneurial spectrum in this group. And by the way, if you're interested in it, it still exists. I've taken a break from the actual mastermind this couple of months, but I'm probably going to jump back in. And it's called TaxBot Midas, but I'll tell you more about it in a second. But it's a mastermind group, and I was able to go to seminars, webinars, and the tips and tricks I got during my time around those other entrepreneurs, people who weren't just running my kind of business. That's my key point here. They weren't just running businesses that I run, the kind of business I run. They ran businesses that have millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, businesses all over the world, all over the country. And I just don't needed to be around people who were making business decisions. I didn't need necessarily in this case to be around other creatives, even though that would be great. And there's other creatives and even in this community that can help and who know about finances and know how they've built businesses. But in my case, I just needed to get around other business people. And once I got around other business people, that's when I really started to see some change in my attitude and in my ability to actually make some changes in my financial records and my record keeping, and how I even evaluated what I own and my assets and whether I could deduct this. And oh, you know what, this car and where I drive and how I drive affects how my bottom line of my taxes go down. And so that made a huge difference. Some of the little tips I learned during that mastermind have saved me thousands upon thousands of dollars just by one little tweak, by changing of a number. And this is all ethical, by the way. None of this is cheating the system. None of this is trying to get out of money that I legitimately owed. But if the government is really working in my favor, which it should be, because I am paying taxes all through the year, through, you know, deductions and all that kind of stuff, and and you know, the payroll deductions, I'm already paying, I'm doing my part. And then the government says, if you do this as a business person on the side, as an entrepreneur, we're going to reward you, we're going to give you these advantages, and I don't take advantage of them. Well, that's not anyone else's fault but my own. And so that's why I'm so glad I got around people. So that's my second tip, is don't just look to get advice from people that, the person down the street, oh, I know this guy. No, make sure you look for people who are qualified, who know what they're talking about. Again, if you're interested in finding out about that resource, TaxBot Midas, I'll tell you more about TaxBot in a second, because that's the system that I'm going to do with part number 3 and kind of tell you how this really happened. But that was the second key that really turned things around. Just a couple of tips from smart people who knew what they were talking about and getting and spending money. I did spend some money and I invested in getting the right kind of advice. So for you, that might be an accountant. For you, that might be a financial planner. For whatever way it is, you got to get in the right frame of mind and you got to get the right advice. Okay, so get serious and then get help, get good advice. And third, I got a system. I picked up a system, I picked up a routine, I picked up a tool, something that would help me to get a system of keeping records and tracking my information. And this could be, again, for many of you, it's pretty simple. It's a financial plan, a financial budgeting system. It's something online like QuickBooks or Quicken, or in my case, again, it's called TaxBot, or there's Mint, or You Need a Budget. It's called YNAB. And these are all different apps that either track your money, help you save money, help you plan your money, and more importantly, in my case directly, helps you keep track of deductions and driving and mileage and things like that. Using that system, figuring out this system, figuring out how I could get my emails to give me my receipts. So now all of my receipts are going to email, and all I have to do at the end of the year is download them all. Little things like that. Getting a system where it wasn't overwhelming. I didn't have to think about it all the time. Using my app, with my TaxBot app, I can just tell it, hey, I just went here. It's a business expense. I can talk to it. It's really cool. And I tell, hey, this is a voice memo. This is where I went. This is how much I spent. This is where I drove. It tracks me automatically. And that system, again, if you want to just look at how things change, I went from staying up for 6-7 months trying to like recap and figure out what the heck happened in my financial life to now this year, again, within a couple of days, I'll have all my financial records ready and I can just send them to the accountant and it's done. And I know for a pretty good, have a pretty good inkling that everything is solid, that I won't be hit with some big tax bill because I've been tracking it, and the peace of mind is unbelievable. It frees me up to do things like this. Like I wouldn't jump online. I wouldn't jump on a live if I had, to deal with a crunch and stress of having to get finances in order right now. But I can kind of rest easy knowing that, number one, the deadlines have been moved, which is a blessing. But number two, knowing that it's only going to take me a couple of days, a week maybe, to compile everything because I know where everything is and the system worked. Using my app, which is TaxBot. I use TaxBot, and if you're interested in TaxBot, definitely go to guidinggeeks.com/TaxBot. It's TaxBot, because I have a arrangement with them where you can get 2 weeks free of their app and check it out and see how it can track your information. But the most important thing I want to share with you is, again, whatever system you choose a system, get in your system that works for you, whether it be spreadsheets, whatever it is. Stop making excuses about why you can't track your money, why you don't know what can be deducted between mileage, between your driving, between what you buy, between having either your home office or whatever it is. These are all things that can make your tax bill go from here to here. And if your tax bill is not high, well, guess what? There's things called refunds. And so I know a lot of people like to get refunds, and maybe you have never really taken advantage of that because you, again, didn't really think it was a big deal. Well, I'm telling you, you're missing out on one of the biggest ways to boost your bottom line as a creative, relieve stress, get that out of your life so that you can really focus on the creative life that you want to focus on. And by the way, more money absolutely helps that, because you can do more of what you love and more of what God bless you to do because you're taking better care of the resources. Okay, so those are my 3 tips. Get serious, get advice, get a system. Do those 3 things, because that's how I can say now that I went from being overwhelmed to totally confident about how I'm tracking my finances, how I'm tracking my deductions, how I'll be able to file in 2020 and 2021, and no matter what happens with COVID and the pandemic and the different laws. Obviously, I've paid for the right kind of investment in accountants that I trust that will help me navigate that, and the advice that I'm getting from them. And that's where I am now feeling that total relief of stress that I used to feel when it came down to April 15th. So again, this year, 2021, you got another month. This is kind of like a, if you haven't been dealing with it, it's kind of late to jump in right away. But I would suggest, again, check out a system like TaxBot, guidinggigs.com/TaxBot to help you start tracking for 2021 so that you can have a much easier time in 2022 when it's time to file or whatever extensions you do, whatever that is. I don't want to get into the weeds of when to file and when not to file and when to get your stuff together. But let's just put it this way. The time to start tracking and taking records is now. Okay, so thank you anybody who joined us live. I didn't see any comments, but if there were comments or you do have comments watching this on the replay, feel free to make those comments. Again, I did this kind of out of the blue. I just said, you know what, I haven't been on live. I get ready to go to my other events and my other office hours and my other stuff during the day. And maybe I'm just going to have to do this early in the morning. And so people that can join us early in the morning, that's great. I don't have a specific time I'm going to do creative checkups yet. I'm just trying things out. And I said, you know what? Let me just turn the camera on. Hopefully I'm not too scruffy or whatever. And everything looks good and sounds good. So I see a couple of people joined us live. Thank you so much for joining us. If I wasn't able to see you, by the way, if you're in the creative community, there is an issue with creative community chat. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I got to jump off in a second, but let me just see if I can find. There's a way in the creative community that you can join up, because I'm using Restream here, as you notice. There is a way that you can have your name connected with the, so I can see your name. So see right now, I see Facebook user, but I can't see who that is. So let me take 5 seconds to see if I can give you guys a link if you're watching on the replay. I'm going to try this. This might be wrong, but I'll try. Let me see while I'm doing this. Because now this is totally live. I'm going to try this link. If it doesn't work, I apologize. But try it, because I think I remember it. And try going to that link and see if it will, if you can sign up so that you can see your name and have it. Basically gives you permission to connect the Restream so that I can see you guys and see your comments or see your names. Okay, so this is just for the creative community if you're watching this now. Okay, so that way whenever you guys see this thing pop up here, you'll be able to have your info pop up as well. So see there. Oh, it's Linus. Thank you, Linus, for coming in. That is awesome. How are you doing? See, that's perfect. I did not know who was watching, and I was like, oh, it's probably nobody watching live. I'll just do this for real. And thank you so much, Linus, for jumping in. Linus Sabatino, who has also been on my other show. This is Guiding Gigs, but Keep the Music Playing is one of the shows that we built up during the pandemic, and we're still doing it. And Linus is amazing and is also a member of our Guiding Gigs community. So good to see you in the morning. That's awesome. So yeah, I had to jump off because I had to get ready for the next thing, but it was definitely worth it. I got my little piece out. I was able to talk about taxes. Linus, I know you and I were talking about business. And so again, everybody that's watching this now on the replay, just realize there's people in your world that know the music business, that know artistic business, that you need to be in a community. The Guiding Gigs creative community is a great place to do that. But again, I'm being very straight up with you. I went outside the creative community to get help. TaxBot is very, very much interested in helping creatives. That's why I was able to interview Jake Randall, who is the CEO of TaxBot, and he came on the podcast last year. As a matter of fact, let me give you that link real quick. I believe it is 57. Yes, guidinggigs.com/57. So if you guys check out that podcast, that is where you absolutely can listen in to hear the heart behind creatives taking control of their finances and their taxes. Again, I'm gonna be very, straight up and spiritual here, and then I gotta run. It's not just a thing to do to make money. It's really a biblical thing. God says that we are supposed to be good stewards. We're supposed to be faithful with our resources. If you go to a church, it's all about your time, your talent, and your treasure, right? So you gotta be willing to take advantage and use these resources wisely. And if the government and the IRS and whatever country you live in is giving you advantages and giving you ways to track your information, track your money, pay less in taxes, ethically, then why would you not do that? It's going to take stress off your life. As I said, I saw my tax bill go from um, almost five figures to zero, to a small refund, like just like that, like within a year. Taking these strategies, doing these things, getting serious, taking the great advice, paying for people to help me really learn the systems and learn the things as a business person, not just a creative, as a business person, as a business owner, because creative, you are a business owner. You are a business owner, okay? You got to start thinking that way, okay? So, yes, if you're now watching and you got to go back to the beginning, go ahead and watch it from the beginning. I kind of meandered a little bit because, again, I just wanted to kind of get this out of here, and I'm trying it out for the first time, first thing in the morning, so I might have been a little, a little foggy, but I think I got out what I needed to say about taxes. Definitely make sure you check out that guidinggigs.com/57 or any podcast app. Go to my 57th episode, look for Jake Randall, CEO of TaxBot. And if you're interested in more info, let me just check and make sure this link too works too, as I am typing and doing this totally on the fly. Yes. So actually, I have two sites I could give you. And I should have done this long before, but I did not. So let's see if either one of these work. You know what? I'm just going to give you the one for the 2-week free trial. Oh, no, it works. Okay, so I'm going to give you this one. You guys check this out. So if you want to see how this app can help you save thousands of dollars, check out that website. Okay, guidedgigs.com/10K. It's a video. Watch this video and you'll see how this gentleman who works with TaxBot is able to save somebody $10,000 in 10 minutes. I told you that my tax bill went down just about that much, and within a year. Well, this video tells you how he did it in 10 minutes and how he finds these things and how all these systems will help you. Again, I'm not telling this because it's a get rich quick scheme. It's actually the opposite. It's a slowly build yourself into wealth by using the strategies and tactics that work for anybody, but really should be working for creatives who very rarely take advantage of the fact that we spend money, we make money, we should be treating everything like assets and liabilities, and really taking advantage of the things that can help us be better managers and stewards of God's resources. Okay, so I hope that made sense. I got to go ahead and jump out now, but thank you guys for joining me. I had no idea anybody would come in, and sure enough, we had Linus and maybe a couple of other you guys joined live. So if you're watching this on a replay, again, this was our creative checkup. Just threw it in there. And I will definitely be doing this more often. I don't know if it'll be Tuesday mornings, but it'll be, it'll be can't talk. It will be more often. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. That's my cue to get off. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And once again, if you're watching on the replay, comment, let me know what you think. And if you are able to take advantage of these resources. Okay. So long, everyone.